Yarrick Thorne had been a cargo pilot for years, ferrying minerals, seed crates, and the occasional political courier across the Helion system. Most days were dull, predictable, and comfortably uneventful. Which was why, on the night everything changed, he did exactly what any sensible pilot would do when confronted with an impossible situation. He pretended to be asleep. The situation in question involved 2 alien princesses, a silvery diplomatic transport pod, and a treaty that could end a century-long conflict. Yarrick had no intention of becoming part of royal politics. Unfortunately, the universe rarely consulted him before throwing absurdity at his lap. The princesses, Ira and Selene of the Aurelian dynasty, were unlike any beings Yarrick had ever seen. Their skin shimmered like liquid starlight, their hair drifted weightlessly as though suspended in invisible tides, and their movements had the uncanny grace of deep-sea creatures gliding through dark waters. They were and were not humanoid, shifting subtly with the light, their forms adjusting like reflections on rippling water. They'd boarded his ship under the cover of a false cargo manifest, escorted by 2 nervous diplomats who muttered something about a discreet evacuation and imminent assassination plots. Then the diplomats left. Then the ship launched. Then the hyperdrive malfunctioned. And then, predictably, the princesses insisted on traveling in proximity to the pilot for safety. Which was how Yarrick ended up lying in his bunk just a meter away from 2 royal extraterrestrials who believed he was sleeping. He wasn't. He had closed his eyes, slowed his breathing, and tried desperately to pretend he wasn't overhearing every whispered syllable. Unfortunately for him, Aurelian voices were musical, soft, and somehow impossible not to hear. Their hushed tones slid into his ears like silk ribbons. "We must decide soon, sister," Ira murmured in a melodic whisper. "If Father's enemies intercept us, we may never reach the Concorde. The human pilot is our only reliable ally." "Reliable?" Yarrick tried not to snort. Selene replied. "He looks sturdy enough for a human. But what if he refuses? Diplomacy with this species has always been unpredictable." Ira breathed a laugh. "They are easily influenced. Especially the males." Yarrick felt heat rise up his neck. He kept his face slack, feigning deep sleep even as his pulse hammered in his ears. "We will have to persuade him," Selene said. "Perhaps, personally." Yarrick's face went crimson. They were talking about him. Worse, they were talking about influencing him. What did that mean to alien royalty? Bribery? Telepathy? Some kind of pheromone-based manipulation? He had no idea, and his imagination was doing him no favors. Ericide. Human minds are responsive to emotional appeal. When he wakes, I will ask him directly. With kindness. That didn't sound threatening. But Selene added, "And if he refuses kindness, we can still use the resonance bond. His physiology is compatible enough." Yarrick had no clue what a resonance bond was. He was pretty sure he didn't want to find out. But the conversation took a sudden turn. "Ira, do you think he heard us?" His thoughts froze. "No," Ira whispered. "He is dormant. His breathing pattern indicates genuine sleep." Yarrick mentally cursed himself. His breathing had quickened without him noticing. He forced it back into a slow rhythm. Selene said, "Good. Then we must finalize our plan. If hostile forces reach us before we exit hyperspace, we will need to rely on him. The pilot's control of the vessel is essential." Ira's voice trembled. "Do you truly believe the rebels will pursue us this far?" "I know they will. And the human must agree to help us complete the treaty ritual. Without a human witness, The Concord will not recognize our claim. A treaty. A witness. Jarek's forehead wrinkled under closed eyes. Was that all they needed him for? If so, he might survive this ordeal after all. But then Selene added, if they capture us, they will exploit our abilities. Worse, they may attempt to bond with him forcibly to access the ship's command codes. Yarek almost sat up. Bond with him. Access his ship. Through what, his brain? Ira whispered. Let us hope it does not come to that. But if the rebels appear, we reveal everything to him. He must know the truth. A ship hummed. The air recycler clicked softly. And Yarek lay still. His heart pounding so loudly he worried the princesses could hear it. Then the alarm blared. A shrill, panicked beeping filled the cabin. Yarek jerked upright instinctively. No longer pretending. Ira and Selene turned toward him, their luminous eyes wide. Hostile vessel detected. The ship's automated system droned. Yarek scrambled to the cockpit. The princesses glided behind him. On the radar screen, a single dark blip accelerating toward them. That's them, Selene whispered. Yarek didn't ask who them was. He slammed into the pilot's chair and powered up evasive maneuvers. I'm guessing you two need to explain something. Anything right now. Ira placed a hand, cool, featherlight, on his shoulder. Pilot Yarek Thorne, we beg your assistance. We carry the treaty that can end the Aurelian Civil War. We require only a human witness for the final diplomatic codex. You, by chance, fulfill that requirement. Without you, thousands may die. Selene leaned in, eyes shimmering like twin moons. Help us reach Concord Station, and we guarantee your safety, your reward, and your world's favor. Refuse, and the rebels will take all. Yarek stared at the radar. The enemy ship was closing fast. Well, he muttered, that's one hell of a wake-up call. He punched the throttle. The ship lurched, streaking through fractured hyperspace currents as the hostile vessel fired a volley of ion bursts. Blue sparks danced across the shields. The cockpit shuddered violently. Ira braced herself against the console. Your maneuvers, impressive for a human. I appreciate the compliment, Yarek said through clenched teeth. But maybe save the flattery until we survive. The rebels fired again. The ship's left stabilizer groaned. Selene touched the controls. A soft harmonic pulse spread through the cockpit. Panels flickered, stabilizing. I'm amplifying the shield resonance with our energy fields, she explained. Maintain your course. Yarek didn't know how she was doing it, but he didn't complain. The enemy vessel drew closer. Ira called out, Yarek, angle toward the gravitational anomaly. They'll lose tracking for several seconds. How do you know this stuff? We have fled before, Ira said simply. Yarek veered into the anomaly. The cockpit warped with sudden vertigo. Alarm screamed. The rebels' tracking signal vanished momentarily from the radar. Now! Selene shouted. Jump to real space exit. Yarek slammed the hyperdrive control. The ship burst free, stars snapping into clarity, as Concord Station rose ahead like a brilliant metallic citadel. Behind them, the rebel vessel dropped from hyperspace too late. They had made it. Inside the docking bay, ambassadors rushed to greet them. Yarek stood beside the two princesses as they presented the treaty. Ira turned to him, her expression warm, grateful. Your courage ensured peace, Yarek Thorne. The Concord recognizes your witness. Selene added with a teasing smile. And your sleeping earlier was very unconvincing. Jarek's face turned red all over again. But he smiled.